So let's start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa amma ba'd. So we were going through the hadith number 3, Bunya al-Islam wa khamsin, that Islam is built upon 5 pillars or 5 important actions or so. The first one is Shahadat Allah ilaha illallah, to testify that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Allah's abd and his messenger, and to establish prayer and to offer the zakah. And then it was performing the Hajj. The fourth pillar is making the pilgrimage to the Hajj, to the house of Allah. So okay, let's start from here. We have talked about the Shahada a little bit, and we talked about the Iqamat al-Salah. We talked about the zakah and its meaning and ruling concerning the one who does not pay zakah or refuses Billah. Let's move to the fourth pillar of Islam, which is Hajj Baytillah, to perform Hajj to the house of Allah. Okay, what Hajj means in the Sharia, it means a particular going or traveling at a particular time to a particular place for the purpose of worshipping Allah. Or in the other words, you can say it is the journey to Makkah during the months designated for the performance of Hajj as an act of worship, meaning you are traveling to Makkah in a given time with the intention to perform Hajj and fulfill the rituals. So that is the definition of Hajj. As for the importance of the Hajj, the importance of the Hajj is very much clear for every believer. It is one of the pillars of Islam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned his obligation in the Quran when he said, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. And anyone who rejects and denies his obligation, say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has referred to it as an act of kufr, وَمَنْ كَفَرَ. So its obligation is mentioned in the Quran as well as in number of authentic hadith. There's a famous hadith, along with the hadith that we are taking, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made Hajj obligatory upon you." And a companion said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, does it has to be done every year?" And Prophet ﷺ said, if I were to say yes, it would have become obligatory, and then you would have been able to do every year. So leave me as long as I leave you. Meaning, don't ask a silly question or unnecessary questions. Sometimes things can be made harder because of coming up with these type of silly or unnecessary questions. And the importance of the Hajj is very much clear, being at the fifth pillar of Islam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned his obligation and Prophet in number of hadiths. Regarding the virtues of the Hajj, that is something different. And let me mention one or two hadiths in which Prophet said, "Man hajja lillahi falam yarfus falam yafsuq raja'a ka yawmi waladat ummu." Whoever performed the Hajj for the sake of Allah and does not commit any lewdness or sins during his journey and during the Hajj, he returns like the day in which his mother gave him birth, meaning free from all sins, like a newborn baby is free. And in another hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-Hajjul Mabrur, laysa lahu al-jaza illa al-Jannah." Prophet ﷺ said, as for the Hajj Mabrur, the Hajj that is performed properly has no reward other than the Jannah. Jannah is only befitting reward for this type of Hajj. Okay, conditions of this obligation, upon whom Hajj is obligatory. Okay, some conditions are the normal conditions, for example, like aql, like Islam, like bulugh. These are conditions for obligation of Hajj and obligation of other Islamic duties. A person needs to be Muslim. First of all, be Muslim before performing Hajj. And he has to be an aqil. Aqil means a sane person. If a person is not sane, then pen is lifted from this type of people. As Prophet ﷺ said, the pen has been lifted from 3. Among them is an insane person until he becomes a sane. And he has to be adult. Hajj is obligatory upon baligh, a Muslim who is aqil and who is baligh. If he is not baligh, the pen is again lifted. What about if he performs Hajj while he was not grown up? He will get the reward as well as his guardians, but once he becomes adult and if the conditions are met, the obligation still remains until he does it after he has achieved the adulthood. Is the point is clear? Meaning a boy or a girl, or let's say a child who has performed the Hajj while he was not grown up, let's say 10 years, 12 years old, boy or girl, that's fine. They will get reward as well as those who are taking them, meaning their parents or guardians. But once he becomes adult, and let's say the conditions of obligatory are met, he has to do again. Okay, so along with the Islam and Aql and Bulugh, there's additional condition, which is al-istita'a, which is istita'a, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. And Hajj to the house of Allah is a duty that mankind owes to Allah, those who can afford the expenses. Meaning financial well-being is also required. So a person has the means to travel and buy the whole package and has the means to the provision needed to undertake the Hajj. So that is the istita'a. And he needs to be physically well as well. If a person, let's say he's rich, but he's not physically able to travel, then he has to make someone do Hajj on his behalf. Let's say someone is rich, but physically disabled or too old to travel. Then he has to make someone do Hajj on his behalf. Another condition is applicable for women. They need to have a husband or mahram to accompany them for the Hajj. And let's say someone husband passed away and no close mahram relatives are available, then obviously Hajj is not obligatory. The Shawafi, they say that she can do Hajj if the meaning if the company, if the people that she is going along with are good. Let's say a group of women also are in the traveling or going for the Hajj. That's what the Shawafi said, but the correct opinion looks like that it is not obligatory if she hasn't got a mahram or husband. Because Prophet ﷺ said a woman is not allowed to travel a distance of 1 day and night. At that time, it was very little that people can travel during a day without husband or without mahram. So those are the conditions of his obligation. Delaying the performance of the Hajj. What about delaying the performance? Let's say someone is grown up and he has got a 10, 20,000 savings. So obviously he's young, physically able, and he got money, he got 20, 40,000 savings in his bank, then Hajj is obligatory upon him. And is it good to delay? I would say it's not good to delay. As soon as the conditions are met, it is highly recommended. It is not obligatory. If not obligatory, pay attention to the wording. If it is not obligatory, I would say it is highly recommended to hasten in performing the Hajj and not to delay. As Prophet ﷺ said in a famous hadith authenticated by Shaykh Albani and others, he said, "Man arad al-hajja falyata'ajjal." Anyone who wants to offer the Hajj and conditions are met, let him hasten, let him not delay, because he does not know whether he will be able to perform Hajj at a later time after a few years or not. Meaning there's no guarantee for the life, and there's no guarantee that you are able to financially able now and you will remain able in future. Many things can happen. So it is never good to delay the performance of Hajj. Okay, ruling concerning the one who delays until he dies. The ruling concerning one who does not perform Hajj until he dies, although he had the means, and let's say he had the intention maybe. So the one who denies the obligation of the Hajj, obviously he's disbeliever. We are talking about the person who intentionally delays his performance, although he had the means, and maybe intention was there, but he dies before he has perform the Hajj. Okay, back in Asian countries and many other countries, the general notion is that you perform the Hajj once you are old, once you have passed the prime age, after 60, 65, 70. That's why you see when you go for the Hajj, many people from the Asian countries, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and so on and so forth, are the old ones. And many Hujjaj who come from other countries like Malaysia and Malaysia and those Indonesia, meaning many of the Hujjaj, men and women, are younger. So that is the correct understanding. As soon as you meet the condition, go perform the Hajj. Don't wait until you become, like we say in Urdu, Buddha, also old person. And if someone is delaying and dies, obviously scholars have said he is a fasik or evildoer. He has left himself open to the punishment and displeasure of Allah in the hereafter. He left himself open to the punishment. If Allah wants, he can be punished for his delaying Hajj until he passed away without performing it. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, he can forgive straight away and admit him to the paradise. So that is something regarding the ruling concerning the one who delays the Hajj. Okay, I will give you time at the end to ask any questions. Let's go to the last point, last pillar of Islam, fasting the month of Ramadan. Fasting during the month of Ramadan. Okay, meaning of Siyam. Siyam, what Siyam means? Siyam means to refrain. Literally, Siyam means to refrain. And in Islamic Sharia, Siyam means to refrain from the things that invalidate the fast, from the dawn till dusk. Refraining from the invalidators of the fast. Don't say refraining from eating and drinking. Obviously, they invalidate, but there are some other things that also invalidate. So you just say refraining from muftiratu sawm, from the Fajr time till the Maghrib time is called Siyam, with the intention of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, if someone is refraining just in order to become slim and lose some fat or so, it's not called a Siyam. It is dieting or whatever you say. Okay, some of its virtues. The virtues of Siyam are too many. And during the month of Ramadan, we always talk about this issue. So I'm not going into detail. Just a couple of things is that the reward of the Siyam is known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. How much he will reward? Because Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith that the reward are multiplied from 10 times minimum to 700 times. And for some people even more. As for the Siyam, its reward is known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَإِنَّهُ لِي وَأَنَا أَجْزِي. Allah says it's for me and I will reward. And obviously, if Allah himself directly rewarding, then the reward will be, the gift is connected to the person that is giving. If a king is giving a gift, then obviously it has to be worthwhile and huge. Okay, and another virtue of Siyam is we say that the ikhlas and the taqwa is very much rooted in the Siyam compared to the other acts of worship. In other acts of worship, Riya can get its way into it. As for the Siyam, because it is a hidden, if someone is really fasting, it has to be for the sake of Allah. As for the sake of people, you can pretend without fasting. But if you are really and truly fasting, it got to be for the sake of Allah. That is different. If you want to pretend that you are fasting to other people, without fasting, you can pretend not to eat and drink in front of them and doing so in private. But if a person has given up his food and drink and the other, it got to be for the sake of Allah. That's something very special regarding the song. Okay, the ruling concerning one who does not fast. The one who does not fast. If a person denies his obligation, then he becomes a believer, because its obligation status is confirmed in the Quran and in the Sunnah. As for the one who believes in the fast but does not fast, then obviously, yes, his Iman in Islam is in danger, but scholars don't regard him as someone who has gone out of the realm of Islam. And I have seen some people, unfortunately, they take the song as a huge, I mean, as a hard act of worship also. And before experiencing fasting, they say, "Oh, I can't do so." 18 hours, 19 hours. And in the month of summer, in those hot countries, Asian, African countries, fasting is even more difficult there than here in these countries, even in the long days. Even in the longer days, fasting here is relatively easier than fasting in the hot countries during the summertime. So some people don't start and they think that it's hard, I can't do it, and give up. My advice for them is start, meaning, yes, go take a step ahead, start fasting, and you find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easier. Obviously, hardship is involved, but you're putting up the hardship for the sake of Allah and for the sake of reward in hereafter. Okay, what Abdullah ibn Abbas has said in this matter. This is a famous hadith in which Abdullah ibn Abbas has attributed it to Prophet ﷺ, but scholars said that it is his saying. It is Abdullah ibn Abbas saying, and obviously the hadith is not that strong one as well. Anyway, he said that the bare essence of Islam and the basics upon which Islam has been established are three. So pay attention. Abdullah ibn Abbas said that the basics upon which Islam has been established are three. Whoever leaves one of them becomes an unbeliever, and his blood may legally be spilled by the people of authority. Okay, so he mentioned three things: Shahada, and prayer, and Sawm Ramadan. Okay, let's say even if it is authentic, it is a saying of Abdullah ibn Abbas. The very vast majority, they don't declare the person as kafir, even though if he believes in his obligation, not fasting out of what we say, out of being fearful of hunger and thirst or whatever, the very vast majority of scholars, they don't regard him as someone who got out of the realm of Islam. Okay, what Allama Dhahabi said regarding this issue. Okay, let's see what Allama Dhahabi has said. He said, according to the established believers, anyone who leaves the fast of Ramadan without being sick is worse than a fornicator or an alcoholic. Allama Dhahabi says that anyone who abandons or leaves fasting without any valid reason, he is worse than a fornicator or an alcoholic. So sometimes I have seen people, simple Muslims, some not, subhanallah, meaning fast is very, what we say, appreciated pillar of Islam. Meaning you find many people who are negligent about other pillars, they do fast. It is the barakah of Ramadan maybe, but I have seen some people who don't, that's not good. See, Allama Dhahabi, right? He said that he is worse than a fornicator and alcoholic. In fact, they doubt his Islam. Again, Allama Dhahabi said, scholars doubt his Islam and they suspect that he might be Zindiq, meaning one of those who destroy Islam. Meaning they don't pass a ruling, but they say this type of person is danger. This type of person is in danger because of his being not fasting. Okay, so I think these are the few things regarding the hadith number 3. Any question, brothers, before we go to hadith number 4? Boys, everything clear?
Yes.
Yes. The sound is fine. I can't hear you people. Let me check the sound.
Yeah, everything is fine, alhamdulillah.
Okay. What is the number of participants now? Has it increased?
Yes.
14.
MashaAllah.
Mm.
Okay, anything below 20 is no good. Okay, let's work harder. Let's go to hadith number 4. Is Hamza there?
نعم شيخ السلام عليكم.
Okay, is anyone else?
نعم لمرانا تفضل.
Lamrana want to read. Tafaddal Lamrana. Quickly. If no, then let Hamza read today and Lamrana next.
Sheikh, I will till next time, inshallah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's take you. Let Hamza continue.
Inshallah, Sheikh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن أبي عبد الرحمن عبد الله بن مسعود رضي عنه قال حدث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو صادق المصدوق إن أحدكم يجمع خلقه في بطن أمه 40 يوما نطفة ثم يكون علقة مثل ذلك ثم يكون مضغة مثل ذلك ثم يرسل إليه الملك فينفخ فيه الروح ويؤمر ب4 كلمات بكتب رزقه وأجله وعمله وشقي أو سعيد فوالله الذي لا إله غيره إن أحدكم يعمل بعمل أهل الجنة حتى ما يكون بينه وبينها إلا ذراع فيسبق عليه الكتاب فيعمل بعمل أهل النار فيدخلها وإن أحدكم ليعمل بعمل أهل النار حتى ما يكون بينه وبينها إلا ذراع فيسبق عليه الكتاب فيعمل بعمل أهل الجنة فيدخلها رواه البخاري ومسلم.
Okay, another very interesting and important hadith of Arba'in Nawawiyya. And this hadith, okay, let's first take the translation, rough translation, before going to the comments on this hadith. An Abi Abdurrahman Abdullah ibn Masud radiallahu anhu, on the authority of Abu Abdurrahman, this is kunya of Abdullah ibn Masud radiallahu anhu. So Abdullah ibn Masud is the famous companion. His kunya is Abu Abdurrahman. So he says, Haddathana. He says, the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, has narrated to us, وَهُوَ الصَّادِقُ الْمَصْدُوقُ, and he is truthful and he is to be believed in. Okay, I will come to explanation. First, let's go for the translation. Haddathana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, narrated to us, وَهُوَ الصَّادِقُ الْمَصْدُوقُ, and he is truthful and the believed one. Meaning he is truthful and people believe in him. What he said, Inna ahadakum yujma'u khalquhu fi batni ummi. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, indeed, ahadakum, one of you, each of you, is brought together in his mother's abdomen, in the mother's womb. Inna ahadakum yujma'u. That's where the creation starts of a human being, in his mother's abdomen or mother's womb. Arba'ina yawman nutfa, meaning 40 days, in a form of fluid drop. ثم يكون علقة. Then the nutfa turns into alaqa, مثل ذلك, meaning doing in the same way. Then it is a clinging object for a similar period. Okay, and then yakuna mudgha, then it turns into a mudgha, مثل ذلك, in the same way. Meaning first it was in the form of nutfa, the drop, fluid drop. Then it turns into alaqa, and after that it turns into muzgha. Okay, we'll come back to explain this words later, inshallah. ثم يرسل إليه الملك. Then an angel is sent to the fetus. فينفخ فيه الروح, and he will breathe in it a ruh, meaning the ruh is breathed in. ويؤمر بأربع كلمات, and the angel is asked or commanded بأربع كلمات, meaning 4 things. Is also commanded to issue 4 decrees, write down 4 things. بكتب رزقه, meaning he is commanded to record his sustenance. وأجله, his lifespan. وعمله, and his deeds. So how many things? Rizq, ajal, amal. وشقي أو سعيد, and whether he is going to be happy or he's going to be a wicked person. Sa'id, unfortunate. Happy by entering paradise or unhappy by entering hellfire. So whether he's Shaqi or Sa'id is written. فَوَاللَّهِ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا غَيْرُ. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, beside him, there is no one worthy of worship. إِنَّ أَحَدَكُمْ لَيَعْمَلُ بِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ. Indeed, one of you, لَيَعْمَلُ بِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ, definitely perform the deeds of the people of paradise. حتى ما يكون بينه وبينها إلا ذراع, until there is not between him and paradise except an arm's length. So he gets very closer. But look what happened. فَيَسْبِقُ عَلَيْهِ الْكِتَابِ. Then what has been recorded will overtake him, and he shall perform the deeds of the people of hell and enter it. So he performs the amal deeds of people of Jannah and gets very closer to him until the book overtakes, the record that is written about him overtakes him, and he starts performing the deeds of people of hell, and he will enter. وَإِنَّ أَحَدَكُمْ, on the other hand, one of you لَا يَعْمَلُ بِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ النَّارِ, performs the act of the people of hell until مَا يَكُنُ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَهَا إِلَّا ذِرَاعٌ, until there is not between him and hell except an arm's length. You get very closer. فَيَسْبِقُ عَلَيْهِ الْكِتَابِ, and then what has been recorded about him will overtake him, and he starts performing the deeds of people of paradise. فَيَدْخُلُهَا, and then he enters the paradise. Rawah al-Bukhari wa Muslim. Okay, so this is the rough translation, and let's go for explanation, word by word or point by point. Okay. The general comments on the hadith. I haven't said anything there, but the general comment of the hadith, one can say that this is important and meaningful hadith of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It explains the human development as a fetus, as an embryo, a human development from one stage to other in the mother's womb. And this hadith is also a huge sign of miracle, a sign of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being a true prophet of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because at that time, no one had any access to know what's happening to the fetus in his mother's womb. Nowadays, we can see pictures, the ultrasound, and all those things can tell you how it's developing from one stage to another, heartbeat and many other things. At that, it happened 50, 60, or maybe 70 years ago. Before that, the medical wasn't advanced, and no one knew how the baby or fetus grows. And Prophet ﷺ gave this information more than 14 centuries ago. The normal belief was the baby, meaning the normal belief was that the baby is formed in the fluid, meaning there is a shape of baby in the nutfa, in the fluid drop, and once the pregnancy starts, it's gradually increases during the 9-month period of time, and then it is born. That's what the normal belief was, and Prophet ﷺ gave the details how it moves from one stage to another. And secondly, this hadith also points to the belief in Qadr. Allah has foreknowledge of what everyone will do and where everyone will end up. So belief in Qadr is also meaning also there in this hadith, and it is the sixth pillar of Iman, Arkan Iman. We talked about in the hadith of Jibreel. Okay, then let's go back again to the hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna ahadakum yujma'u khalqu fi batni ummihi 40 yawman nutfa, thumma yakunu alaqa mithla dhalik, thumma yakunu mudghah mithla dhalik." Meaning one of yours creation is, the Messenger of Allah said, each of you is brought together in his mother's womb. Yujma'u khalqu, meaning the creation starts in mother's womb. 40 days, he remains 40 days, nutfa, and then alaqa, and then mudghah. Okay, the nutfa, the meaning of nutfa is clear. What did I say? I said nutfa is a drop of fluid. I mean the discharge of the man. And it's got 3 connotations, by the way. Pay attention. Nutfa is used to refer the fluid of male, and sometimes it refers to the fluid of female. Like Allah said, min nutfatin amshajin. a human being created from the mixture of the fluid, man and woman. And the third one is nutfa, is referred to when the fluid of man and the fluid of woman, I mean the egg of the woman, intermix together and the pregnancy starts. So that position also is called a nutfa. Is it clear now? Okay, now come to the hadith in which Prophet ﷺ said that the creation is brought together. The creation of one of you is brought together in his mother's womb 40 days nutfa. The wording, and let's go back to this wording. إن أحدكم يجمع خلقه في بطن أمه 40 يوما نطفة. One of your creation is brought together in his mother's womb 40 days. Okay, the word nutfa is not there in the wording of Bukhari and many other. It says the creation of one of you is brought together in mom's womb 40 days. And then he becomes alaqa mithla dhalik in the same period. And then he becomes muzgha. Okay, so 40, meaning during the 40 days, the initial stage, he will be in a form of fluid, the male fluid taking place or getting into the female's egg, and it remains in that form. And then after a few days is changed into form of alaqa. What alaqa means? Any idea what alaqa means? Alaqa means something that clings, like the leech or so. So if you see the ultrasound picture, it looks like it is like a small leech or so. It clings, it attached to the uterus or something, and then it changes to the mudgha. What mudgha means, by the way? Mudgha is a lump, okay, like chieved looking like lump, meaning a piece of flesh or meat that is chieved looking like. And you can see from the ultrasound, it has the marks like the marks of teeth, but it is like a flesh, a piece of meat now. Okay, how scholars have understood what did I say? All these three stages. So that is the meaning of alaqa and mudgha is clear. Let's go to the other issue. The other issue is all these first three stages are completed in what period of time? Is it 120 days or is it around 40 days? Okay, pay attention. This is something really important that I'm going to discuss. The first three stages from the fluid to, meaning fluid means when the man's sperm gets into the lady's or wife's what we say egg or so, and the pregnancy starts. That is the first stage, which is called nutfa. Then it says to alaqa, meaning in a form of blood and leech looking like thing, and then mudgha. Does all these three stages are completed in what period of time? The famous opinion is it is 120 days. 40 days is the main nutfa, 40 days is the main form of alaqa, and another 40 days is the form of mudgha. Then the angel comes. That is generally speaking what a majority of the scholars have said, especially the previous scholars of the previous centuries or so. And the wording nutfa in this hadith also made them believe that way. But however, I said the word nutfa is not there in the wording of Bukhari and many other hadith books as well. The second opinion is that all this form from one to another is completed during 40 days. So how the hadith is explained? The hadith is explained in that way, that the creation of one of you is completed both together in his mom's womb as a nutfa during the 40 days, and in the same period, then the nutfa changed to alaqa, and mithla dhalik means in the same period of time, it gets changed to mudgha, one after another. So in the first few days, it will be in the form of nutfa, and in the next few days or weeks, let's say, it turns into a form of alaqa within the 40 days. And in the remaining 40 days, or in the last weeks of those 40, it turns into mudgha. Then after 40 odd days, some of our hadith says 42 days or 45 days or so, the angels comes. Which opinion is more correct? Or what is the problem of those who understand the process to take 120 days? Okay, so once we refute this one, we'll go to the second opinion, which is looks like more stronger. What is the problem? I mean, what the issue if of those who understand the process to take 120 days? Okay, what is the problem? Because we find number of ahadith, number of clear ahadith that says that the angels will come when the 40 days or 40 odd days are completed. For example, this hadith says يدخل الملك على النطفة بعدما تستقر في الرحم ب40 أو 45 يوما. In authentic hadith, it says that the angel comes to it after the 40 or 45 nights. And there's another hadith which says that إذا مر بالنطفة, when the nutfa passes 42 nights in the womb, the angel is sent to do all those four things and to form it. And meaning those four things, whether he's male or female. Some hadith says whether he's male or female, that is also decided. And whether he's Shaqi or Sa'id, how much he will live, what his deeds will be, and his provision, everything is recorded. So these are hadiths, and there's another hadith as well. In the nutfa taqaw fi rahmi 40 layla. After 40 days, when the pregnancy started, the angel will come. And he will come to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whether it is male or female, and whether it has to be complete or what we say, uncompleted miscarriage or something, and the other things. So these hadiths are clearly says that the angels comes after 40, 42 or 45 days. I mean, let's say around 40 days. So those who say that 40 days nutfa, 40 days alaqa, 40 days mudgha, and after 120 days the angel comes, they are in trouble, meaning how they are going to explain these clear hadith. They are not one or two, more than 4 hadith. And there's another one, it says, إِذَا مَرَّ بِالنُّطْفَةِ إِسْنِنْتَانِ وَأَرْبُونَ لَيْلًا. When the nutfa passes 42 nights in the womb, Allah sends to it the angel. So all these hadith tells us, meaning cannot explain. If it say he remains 40 days, nutfa 40 days, alqa 40 days, and then angel. So how can you going to explain these hadith? So the correct way is to say, the correct way to understand that Prophet ﷺ did not say that he remains nutfa 40 days and he remains nutfa, he turns into alqa and remains in alqa 40 days. No, the correct way to understand this hadith is to say that within the period of 40 days, he remains nutfa, then he remains, he turns into alaqa, and then he turns into mudgha in the later period of those 40 days. If you explain that way, meaning all these three things happens within that same period of time, the first part of 40 days nutfa, middle part alaqa, and the third part or last part of the 40 days is mudgha, then obviously you don't have problem. If you explain that way, you don't have problem with the other hadith that clearly says that it happens. Angel is sent after 40 odd days or so. And let me tell you that the current medical also proves that these things happens within the 40 days. Meaning, if you take a scanning also of a pregnant woman, let's say after 20-25 days, it will show the fetus in the form of alaqa. And after 30-35 days, if you take ultrasound, it will show in the form of lump, like a chewed one, meaning chewed looking like lump. So in that way, this explanation goes along with the other hadith and goes along with the medical as well. Okay, let's move to some other points. Try to finish this hadith today if you can. Okay, when is the spirit breathed into the embryo? Okay, look to this hadith. Even though the majority opinion is again, because they say the angels comes after 120, so they say all those 4 things are recorded, and his gender is recorded, as well as the breathing process take place there after 120. But if we take the correct opinion, 40 days, 40 odd days, let's say, being the Arab would disregard the what we say, meaning bring the number to the round figure and disregard the odd ones. So if we take the opinion, it can be understood that it will take place after 40 days. Okay. However, there are some scholars who say there's no clear evidence to say when it is being breathed. But if you look this hadith, it tells us that angels comes, he records the 4 things, and فَيَنْفُخُ فِيهِ الرُّوحُ, and the ruh is breathed in. So for me, it looks like the correct opinion that after 40 odd days, 42 or some, the angel will come, record all those 4 things, 5 things, and he breathes the ruh in him. And anyone, medical students in our participants? Anyone doctor or medical student? Boys, answer quickly. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm saying any medical student or doctor with us. Maybe no, let's say. I think the heartbeat also starts after 7 weeks or 6 weeks or something. So maybe the correct opinion is that after 40 days, or the angel will come to record, and I think that is the time when the ruh is breathed in the embryo. However, there was a life. That's why the nutfa gets bigger in the form of alaqa leaves, and then in the form of a lamp or so. But that is a different type of life, like the life of plants or something. But after this, proper, meaning the fetus is formed, and the lamp gets changed into the bones, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَا الْمُضْغَةَ إِظَامًا, and then the bones are covered by the flesh or so. So the process of organs and other things start taking place after that. So it looks like Allah knows best. The correct opinion is after 42 days or so, the angel will come, record, and that is the time when and it is mentioned in the hadith as well. The hadith that we are taking, it says the angel will come and breathe in the ruh. Okay, let's move to the other. And then he records all those 4 things, whether he's male or female, and his deeds. So I pose the question: where does this recording take place? Meaning, where does he records? Okay, obviously scholars have said the recording may be in the scrolls, and there's a possibility that the recording, meaning the takdir of every individual, might have been done in the forehead of a person. I think there's a hadith of saying of someone that, let me see, one of you. Okay, I think there's a saying of Abdullah ibn Abbas that the recording take place in the forehead of the fetus, and these people of meaning, this science also tells us that the patterns on the forehead of each baby or each person is different or unique or different from the other one. Like we got the fingerprints, the fingerprints of each person is unique. So the research of the medical technology, they found that the patterns of each person, the patterns on someone's forehead is also different than the other one. Okay, we don't know, meaning it can be both, and someone can say, how can those his takdeer and everything is recorded in the small space of a person's forehead? Sheikh Uthaymeen have given the answer. He said, look, nowadays to understand the recording is very easy. The little chips that we use in mobile and computer and so on and so forth, many things can be said and can be, meaning they can hold a lot of information and many things can be recorded. So for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very easy. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that his record will be placed around his neck on the day of judgment, yes, it can be in a form of a CD or form of a chip or something. Any questions? Let me stop the sharing. Yes, boys.
Yeah, no, Sheikh, I have a question.
Yes, come on.
No, yeah, so it's regarding Hajj, yeah, you know, if someone has like multiple incomes, right? Like halal and haram, like how can they like, so they still like go to Hajj, like knowing that all of the income is not like halal, if you know what I'm saying? No.
If someone is going for Hajj, let one make sure that his income is halal. And let's say if he has got mixed income, so he has to put aside the halal income on side and do the Hajj. But this not to say that, not to justify his source of income that is coming from haram. One has to avoid haram in all cases, whether he's going for Hajj or not, but more so when he's going for Hajj. Any other questions?
Right, Sheikh, so basically, you know, can you also take a loan, like to go Hajj, like a halal loan, and then, you know, repay it, you know, later on, you know?
Say it again, can you?
Like, take like a halal loan, you know, like the halal loan, in order like to go Hajj. Like,
I mean, Hajj is not obligatory upon a person if he hasn't got means. It's not obligatory upon a person if he hasn't got means. Let's say he hasn't got the 10, 20, which is whatever is required. He wants to borrow from other. If he wants to do so, and he's sure that upon his return he will be able, or he's leaving some tarika, for example, inheritance behind, from which the money can be taken, that's okay. Otherwise, if he has no financial means, then it's not obligatory upon him. Any other questions? Is there anything
Imam,
on chat?
Imam, I have a question. What was the third connotation of the word nutfa?
I mean, when those fluid of male and female gets together and the pregnancy starts. So it remains in the same way for first 10 days, I'm not sure exactly. That's also referred as a nutfa. And then it changes into the clinging object. Okay, subhanakallah bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.